Hello and welcome to my next class on Industrial Revolution. Before I talk about Industrial Revolution, it is very important to understand what was the economic process that was going on in Europe before Industrial Revolution marked a rapid change in the process of production. So, in our class today, we will talk about Industrial Revolution. But before that, we will speak about how industries came up in Europe. So, with the Renaissance or 16th century revolution, what we see that trade became really important economic activity in Europe. So, trade resulted in the formation of trading guild, and these were the first production unit of Europe. Now, in trading guilds, the merchants came together and they shared their profit when they sold the product in the market. Next was obviously the factory system, or the factory system, actually it was putting out system. And let me jot down the third one, that is factory system. Okay. Now, let us talk about the putting out system and then I will explain you factory system. So, what was this putting out system? After trading guilds, the merchants found it easier to give away the work to the daily laborers. They were wage earners. So, the raw material and the finished product will belong to merchant. What they will do, they will give the raw material to these wage earners and they will work in their home. So, where was the production activity taking place? It was in the backyard of the worker, and once the product was finished or completed, it will be taken away by merchant and the profit of that product will also go in the hand of merchant. But later on, merchants believed that it was much better to bring more and more workers under one shed. That resulted in factory system, where factories were formed and manual labor was used under one shed. So, million of people will come together and they provide their labor and commodities were produced. So, these were the three systems which was going on in Europe, and they gradually developed actually. So, when we talk about industrial revolution, it really does not mean that industries came up after the revolution. Industries were there. What was the change that industrial revolution saw? The change was introduction of machine. This was the change of machine. This was where the change came. So, if I have to talk about industrial revolution in few lines, I can explain it as it is a revolution which changed economic process of production. So, this is industrial revolution, but along with that, this is the first sentence that you have to remember, but along with that you have to add, it was assisted by technological innovation. Assisted by technological innovation. So, now we are going to talk about factors that resulted in industrial revolution. So, let us talk about factors. We have understood what was the production system before industrial revolution. What is industrial revolution? Now, let us talk about factors that resulted in growth. The first factor was the technological revolution which was introduced in the production of textile. Production of textile was the first industry which saw such technological growth. So, we can say revolution which came in textile industry. and this is the most interesting part of Industrial Revolution. We all know that India got colonized. Can you people tell me what was the product, why India was colonized, and what was the product that Europeans sought in India? If you know the answer, that's good. If you don't, then it will be textile, other than spice and indigo. Textile was the major product which was imported or exported from India. The raw material of textile was very important, the cotton and the jute and the silk which was taken from India. But the most important was East India Company, when came to India, they were not buying raw material, they were actually buying the finished product. The textile or handloom industry of India was so much developed that the loom that was produced in India was hard to be found in any other part of the world. It was high quality loom that they were producing. So, East India Company bought large amount of finished good of textile and sold it in European market. Now, British businessmen were keen to earn the same profit. What did they do? They took lot of raw material into Europe and they were trying to produce similar high quality product and sell it into the market, but those products could not come in at par with the quality of the Indian product. So, what happened? A man called Hargreaves, he came with the idea of introducing machine. First machines were actually used and they were run with manual power. So, they were people pushing the pulley and the machine would run. Then came Arkwright. So, Arkwright is more important because this man introduced hydropower to run the machine, and this changed the whole industrial system in the textile industry. It brought a boom in textile industry because hydropower could make those machines run more efficiently. The next person who actually changed the system of production was obviously James Watt. We all know about James Watt, and his introduction of steam engine was one of the most important innovation of 18th century. Introduction of steam engine. Now, steam engine, when it was connected to railways, it produced a marvelous result. What did it do? First, now this is again a factor also which resulted in Industrial Revolution. One of the factor was growth of communication. So, in 1769, when steam engine was introduced, these steam engines were not only connected in the machines and in the industries, but they were also used to create railways which could take product from corner of a country and sell it in the proper market. Raw materials were brought from various part of the country to the industrial hub, and similarly finished product were sold in the market by carrying them off through the train. Now, another important factor why communication resulted in Industrial Revolution was that communication allowed people to travel from rural areas to urban areas and easily reach the factory hubs and work there. So, this was one of the reasons why Industrial Revolution happened. Now, let us look at the last important factor which resulted in Industrial Revolution, that was the revolution in the production of iron. Revolution in the production of iron. Okay. Now, industries needed machines and machines were made of iron. Britain had lot of iron ore deposit, but the problem was the extraction of iron was costly affair. They needed a cost effective method to extract this iron. This is the time when innovation came for the rescue of Britain. cast iron was actually created with the use of blast furnaces which were developed, and instead of using charcoal they started using coke. So, these were the technological innovations which helped Britain gain more and more control over the iron ore deposit, and iron helped or gave the boost that was needed for the construction of machine and the industries. Obviously, this resulted in industrial revolution. There is one more topic, that is agricultural revolution. The iron equipments which were made also resulted in agricultural boom, because there were better plowshare now available to the farmers. Along with that, many other changes were introduced, but agricultural revolution is a separate topic and we will be discussing it in another session. So, I hope this session helped you understand everything about industrial revolution. I will meet you in another session with some new topic.